The next Resident Evil remake might be announced sooner than we expected. With Resident Evil 9 just around the corner, fans are incredibly excited to finally see what Capcom has been cooking up. But while all eyes are on 9, there's also a lot of new information circulating about the next Resident Evil remake, and things are getting very interesting. For a long time, most fans assumed that Resident Evil 5 remake would be next in line. It just made sense. After the massive success of the Resident Evil 4 remake, the natural progression seemed obvious. Resident Evil 5 is one of the best-selling games in the franchise, and it features one of the most iconic villains in gaming history, Albert Wesker. The scale, the action, the co-op gameplay, it all felt like the perfect next step. But recently, something unexpected happened. A legitimate voice actor from Resident Evil 5 posted a mysterious message online. He said something along the lines of, "When you know something but can't reveal it, stay tuned for March." That was enough to send the entire fan base into speculation mode. Fans immediately assumed this was teasing Resident Evil 5 remake. After all, what else could it be? However, according to reports from Insider Gaming, Resident Evil 5 remake is not expected to be announced this year. That completely shifts the conversation. Now here's where things get even more interesting. Capcom previously conducted an official fan survey asking players which Resident Evil game they would like to see remade next. Surprisingly, the top votes didn't go to Resident Evil 5. Instead, fans heavily voted for Resident Evil Code, Veronica, and Resident Evil 0. And if there's one thing we know about Capcom in recent years, it's that they actually listen to their fans. They've been very strategic with the Resident Evil franchise, and their remake formula has been extremely successful. Well-known insider Dusk Golem has also weighed in on this situation. According to him, the next remake projects in development are Resident Evil Code Veronica and Resident Evil 0, not Resident Evil 5. Now for those who don't know, Code Veronica is often considered the true sequel to Resident Evil 2. It continues Claire Redfield's story in a major way and expands the overall lore of the franchise. Many longtime fans believe it deserves the remake treatment more than any other title. So naturally, the big question is, why skip Resident Evil 5? Dusk Golem addressed this directly. He explained that the scope and scale of Resident Evil 5 and Resident Evil 6 are significantly larger compared to earlier titles. These games are massive in terms of action set pieces, explosions, vehicle sequences, large environments, co-op systems, and that makes remaking them much more complicated and expensive. When you really think about it, he has a point. Resident Evil 4 remake was already a huge project. Now imagine something even bigger than that. Resident Evil 5 has larger environments, more cinematic action moments, and heavy co-op integration. Remaking that game at modern AA standards would require a massive budget, a long development cycle, and significant resources. In comparison, Code Veronica and Resident Evil 0 are smaller in scale. They're more focused on classic survival horror elements, tighter environments, slower pacing, and less over-the-top action. From a development standpoint, those projects are more manageable. It would make sense for Capcom to tackle those first before jumping into something as ambitious as Resident Evil 5. And there's another factor here, Resident Evil 9. Dusk Golem also mentioned that Resident Evil 9 is coming first. Capcom's main focus right now appears to be launching the next major mainline entry in the franchise. That's a huge priority. Once Resident Evil 9 is released, the remake cycle can continue. So what about that March tease? March is actually a very interesting month for the franchise. It marks a major anniversary for Resident Evil. Anniversaries are often when Capcom likes to reveal big announcements, trailers, remasters, or even entirely new projects. So while Resident Evil 5 remake might not be happening immediately, a reveal for Code Veronica or Resident Evil 0 remake in March is definitely possible. And let's be honest, that wouldn't be a bad thing. Code Veronica in particular has been overlooked for years. It has some of the best atmosphere and storytelling in the series, and seeing it rebuilt in the RE engine would be incredible. Modern graphics, updated mechanics, refined combat, it could finally give that game the recognition it deserves. As for Resident Evil 5, I don't think it's off the table. Not at all. It's simply a matter of timing. Capcom knows how important that game is to the franchise. It's one of the highest selling entries ever. But because of its scale, it may require more time to do it properly. And honestly, that's better. Rushing a remake of Resident Evil 5 would be a mistake. The expectations are extremely high. If Capcom is going to remake that game, they need to make sure it feels modern, polished, and worthy of following Resident Evil 4 remake. So to summarize everything, Resident Evil 9 is coming first. The next remakes are likely Code Veronica and Resident Evil 0. Resident Evil 5 remake may happen later due to its massive scope, and March could bring a big announcement. Now I want to know what you think. Would you rather see Resident Evil 5 remake next? Or do you think Code Veronica deserves it more? And are you excited for Resident Evil 9? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and want more Resident Evil news and updates, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.